Okay, now that we have lubricated our new oil filter and the gasket around the outside and see that there's no rubber or gasket material left on the engine itself, I'm going to go ahead and screw this oil filter on. Now I'm going to spin it down till it just touches the metal. Then I'm going to turn it 3/4 of a turn. That should be all you have to do. Check it for leaks when you're done, but as far as when you put the oil filter on, that should be all you have to do, is about 3/4 of a turn. You turn it any more than that, and you're going to have difficulty getting it off next time. So really you're just hoping to compress the gasket, and that will seal the oil filter. That's all you should have to do. Normally when you put your drain bolt back on, you'll notice that there's a little metal washer underneath here. And I've used mine a couple of times. But that little metal washer goes in between the bolt and the outside of the oil pan. It really should be replaced whenever you do this. Unfortunately I don't have a new one, but whenever you take the drain bolt out, it's a really good idea to replace this. I don't like the plastic ones, and some of these metal ones get squished on here so badly that they don't even resemble metal washers anymore. But I'm just going to reuse this one this time because I know I replaced it last time and I don't have one right now. But just go ahead and screw the drain bolt back down. Then you take your wrench and just snug it up. You don't have to do it so much that you'll never get it off again and the washer underneath goes everywhere. So just tighten it down enough to where it's snug, and then I wipe it off with a rag. You also want to, if you can, clean the area where the oil came out of the filter. Sometimes the oil will drip down on the exhaust, and you want to try to avoid that because it'll smell and possibly create some smoke that comes from under your car, and that's never a confidence builder. So just try to clean up after yourself when you do this. Particularly be careful around any of the exhaust. Now that my oil is all drained out and I've changed my oil filter and I've cleaned everything up under there, I'm going to pull the pan out from underneath the car. Now that the pan is out from underneath there, you've changed the oil, or you've got the old oil out of the car, and you've installed the new filter, you can go ahead and let the car back down now. Go ahead and remove your jack stand, and you can let the car down. Now you need to get oil back into the engine. But you say to yourself, well, what kind of oil should I use in my engine? Because on many vehicles, they'll tell you right on the oil cap. And in this case, this says 5W30. So when in doubt, just look at the oil cap, or sometimes on top of the air cleaner. Another place to look is in the owner's manual. Should be a section that looks something like this. Sometimes different vehicles take a different type of oil in different climates. As you can see, they've got the ambient temperature along the bottom here that coincides with the type of oil to use. Sometimes you'll see multiple different types of oil within these temperature ranges. So if you live in a colder part of the world or a warmer part of the world, you may be using a different oil, but in this particular case, they're saying to use this 5W30 all the way across. Now we could get into a long, drawn-out discussion on what brand of oil and what type of oil to use, synthetic, non-synthetic. I'm gonna say go with your gut. Cars that have got a few miles on them, engine parts are kind of worn out. They make specific blends of oil for high mileage cars. I'm not saying don't use those. I'm saying if you want to spend the extra money to use them. What I'm going to say is that as long as you're changing it within the manufacturer's specifications with the type of oil that they say to use, you're okay. What you're looking for is this guy right here. And that's the API service donut, as it's called. And this tells you not only what the grade of the oil is, but it also tells you that it is certified by API, which is the American Petroleum Institute. And as long as the oil that you're buying, I don't care if it's generic or you know, some high dollar oil or synthetic oil, every oil has this sticker on it somewhere, and that it is certified by the American Petroleum Institute. If you buy some oil and you don't see that mark on there, I would worry about that oil. Once again, the key here is to do this on a regular basis. The type of oil you use may or may not have an adverse effect on the inside of your engine. That's an argument I am not even going to touch here. Change your oil on a regular basis. Look for the API service donut on the back of the oil. The brand or type of oil, synthetic, non-synthetic, completely up to you. All right, now this is kind of a tricky little bend here, so I'm going to use a funnel. Oh, capacity. In your owner's manual, aside from what type of oil to use, it will also tell you there should be a section on capacities, and the capacity of this particular engine is 4.7 quarts. I'm going to dump 5 in. To be absolutely sure, refer to your owner's manual and find out how much oil is supposed to go into the engine. Also very important. And this jug that I have here that I'm pouring in, 5 quarts. Okay, once you're done, screw the oil cap back on. Very important. If you don't get this back on, oil could be everywhere. Almost forgot, when you're done doing your oil change and you got the oil back in the car, the next step would be to start the car, run it for a couple minutes, shut it off, look underneath, see if there's any leaks from anything that you did, and then check the oil level after you've run the car. That way the oil filter's filled up and it's all through the system, that kind of thing. That way you're sure that you don't have any leaks and that the oil is at the proper level. So after you're done changing the oil, recheck it and make sure that the correct amount of oil is in the car. Now when you change your oil, see it as an opportunity to look your car over. Look underneath for any leaks or anything that looks out of the ordinary. Anything that doesn't look, I'm not going to say clean because the underside of your car is quite dirty. But if you see, particularly look for oil leaks around the engine itself, coolant leaks, transmission fluid leaks. Just keep an eye out and look around underneath your car to see if there might be something that needs to be addressed. And the other thing that you should do when you change your oil is not only change the oil, but check the rest of the fluids and see what kind of shape they're in as well, such as the coolant, the power steering fluid, the windshield washer fluid, top that off, and also check your transmission fluid to see if that is in good order. I'm going to do a separate video on checking fluids and topping them off, but this just covers the oil change. In addition to checking the fluids and checking the car over, something else that is a real good idea is also to check the tire pressures. Now, the next video that I'm doing is actually going to be on tires, so you can refer to that. Lastly, something that I forgot to talk about in this video, which was, what do you do with the old oil? What I do with the old oil is recycle it. There are a number of different ways you can go about this. Some of auto parts stores have the ability to take on the used oil from the oil change. Different shops may take the oil. As far as I know, you shouldn't be charged for recycling your used oil, and you just want to make sure that you take care of our planet here. I realize that oil is basically dead plants and dinosaurs and such, but you really don't want to spread it around and especially put it into the ground, that kind of thing. Very good idea. Recycle your oil. Be responsible. Don't dump it all over the ground, or definitely don't dump it down a storm drain or something like that. Take care of the planet. Be good. Thank you for joining me for this video on oil changes. I hope this information was helpful to you. As always, you can post comments here below this video, or video responses if you so desire, or you can visit me at EricTheCarGuy.com. One last thing to mention, thank you very much to all my new subscribers. Welcome aboard. We'll look forward to the next episode of Eric the Car Guy. Thanks. See you. This is going to be fun, and you might just learn something.